That was Bill Belichick for the second time on the same day, reacting to the comment from Patriots coach Jerod Mayo after Sunday's embarrassing loss to the Jaguars in London that the Patriots are a soft team across the board. Devin and I talked about it for a while yesterday. Devin had some great insights, obviously, because he spent so many years with the Patriots working under Belichick. Jerod Mayo there as an assistant coach. So there's a great understanding by him about the situation. But the thing that saddens him is these two guys don't get along. They used to call Jerod Mayo Jerod Belichick, he said, because they got along so well. And one of the theories, and we texted about this yesterday, I feel like Mayo is caught between this broader Shakespearean thing between Belichick and RKK.
I think you're on the money with it, Mike. I heard you and Devin a bit yesterday talking about it. And when you came in with that, I said, ooh, that is it. That is the heart of it. That's the heart of the issue. Now, I can't say this about any other coach in pro sports, but I can say this about Jerod Mayo. I used to work with him. I used to work with Jerod Mayo. I was doing Patriots pre- and post-game coverage. And he was, this is after his playing career, obviously, he was one of my analysts along with Rob Ninkovich. So they were teammates, and then they wanted to get into the media. And so Mayo was doing just TV work. And he was getting better and better every week. And I remember having a conversation with him after the 2018 season. So that was the last year, that was the year the Patriots won the Super Bowl. And so leading up to that postseason, I said, hey, would you ever get into coaching? He said, no way. There's no way I'd get into coaching. It's just, you're spending so much time at the facility. You're away from your family. I've done well for myself. I don't need the money. And then at the Super Bowl that year, I couldn't find him because he kept every night. Bill Belichick is taking him to parties. Bill Belichick is spending time with Mayo and recruiting him and trying to get him into coaching. So Belichick is the one who brought him back into coaching in the first place. One of Belichick's favorite players, one of Belichick's favorite people. And so I think people have to understand how this started. It started with Mayo had no interest in it. Belichick recruited him, brought him in at a higher position than somebody else with his experience level would have gotten, gave him more responsibility than somebody else would have gotten. And Belichick feels like this is like a backstabbing from Mayo, which is not. So Belichick demands things from his friends that are not healthy. I'm just say it that way. It's not healthy. He demands a type of loyalty and a type of servitude at times. It's kind of sick where you give him any type of pushback and you could be off the list. If you give him some constructive criticism about the way things have gone, he may not let you back in. I know we talked about that last week. Remember that Aaron Rodgers thing, like that kind of personality?
Hey, Michael, I'm trying to decide whether or not Bill Belichick should be the quarterback of the Jets or he should be running for president. I can't tell which one.
Well, here's the thing. Belichick brought him along. Belichick was always a supporter of Mayo. When Mayo was going to go to Carolina for an interview, Robert Kraft said, that's not going to happen. I don't want to lose you. What no one knew, and this is probably what bothers Belichick so much, no one knew that Mayo had it in his contract that, hey, I'll stay. I won't take this interview in Carolina, but eventually I'll be the head coach of the Patriots. He didn't go in saying, I want Bill out. This is contractually, I know I'm going to have a spot for me whenever this ends. And no one thought it would end in 2023. No one thought the Patriots would go 4-13. And so, I mean, that's where some of the tension came from. Robert Kraft and Belichick, they've been at odds for really 4 or 5 years. And I think Belichick wanted Mayo to take a side. And Mayo was not going to take, he's not that kind of guy. He's not going to take a side. Loved Belichick, loves Robert Kraft. And so he's really, as you said, he's in the middle of this thing. And the last thing on soft, calling the team soft, And don't you hate when people do this? Belichick is doing this in this clip. Hey, I wouldn't call those defensive players soft. Bill, he didn't say defense. He used your definition of toughness. He learned it from you. He said, collectively, we're a soft football team. He talked about kickoff coverage. He talked about not being able to run the ball. And he talked about not stopping the run. Tom Brady, Jerod Mayo, Devin McCourty, Rodney Harrison, all of these folks have their definition of toughness straight out of the mouth from Bill Belichick. And all Jerod Mayo did was parrot Belichick, and now Belichick is criticizing him for saying it.
The other wrinkle, though, is it proper to take that public? Bill Belichick and Jerod Mayo have very different styles when it deals with talking to the media. Belichick never gave anything unless you asked him some obscure question about the wing T offense from 1942. Then he wouldn't shut the hell up. But he never gave anything up about his own team. Mayo is being maybe a little too candid, and you got to ask yourself, what's the impact on the team of hearing the coach say that they're soft across the board? That came up later in the Let's Go podcast after Bill Belichick and Tom Brady made their exit. Jim Gray was talking to Max Crosby, who's part of this thing every week all year long. Have a listen to some of what Max Crosby said, because I'm trying to discern, Michael, what the Patriots are going to look like when Aaron Rodgers and the Jets come to town on Sunday. Here's Max Crosby.
Well, you know what I mean? He's a player, so he's been around it. He played at the highest level, and if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. But I can't speak for him. But yeah, I would not take it lightly. You know what I mean? I would have a major issue if I was a player, especially another grown man calling you soft. I mean, those are fighting words. So yeah.
Those are fighting words. Again, how are the players going to respond? And you're almost trying to provoke that kind of a response, aren't you?
Right.
Like, good. If somebody called the Raiders soft, and that's what Max Crosby did. If Antonio Pierce says they're soft, and Max Crosby goes up and punches Antonio Pierce in the face, not that I condone violence, I'm just saying he's called him fighting words, good. Show me some of that. Show me some of that out on the field. And when I got into it with the Jets beat writers a few weeks ago because they tiptoe around the delicate genius and they came at me, I said, good. Show some of that to Aaron Rodgers. So show some of that, Patriots. Get mad. Get mad. I wouldn't mess with Jerod Mayo. You could probably kick your asses individually. You may have to gang up on him. But take that to the field. Take that to Aaron Rodgers on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, fighting words, if you really make it personal and you say, our middle linebacker is soft, our cornerback is soft. Yeah, I could see wanting to fight somebody over it. He did say collectively, and collectively, we are a soft football
You're
team.
all soft. Yeah. That makes it worse. Look, you're all soft.
Right, and maybe the argument is he shouldn't have said it publicly. Like, he told those guys, he told them that's based on what we hear. The players all came out and said, yeah, he told us the same thing. And we agree with him. A couple of players said, yeah, we agree with him. Can you do that without bringing it to the public and saying the truth? Because they are. If you just go by the strict definition of what they think, what these Patriots guys think. Oh, I'm talking about the old school ones. And he's one of them. What they think soft is, if you just go by the letter of the law, yeah, they can't run. They can't stop the run. They're giving up 150, 180 yards a game, and they gave up a 97-yard punt return to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, that is soft, but do you need to say it? And Mayo does have to look at himself. If your kids are spoiled, if my kids are spoiled, that's my fault. That's my fault. And my kids are spoiled. And it is my fault. I've given them too much. I've said yes too much. And so if the team is soft, then you haven't done enough as a head coach to set a tone where you can kind of root out some of that softness. Oh, can I tell you, I'll edit for London. Bill Belichick, young Bill Belichick, criticizing his team. He said a couple of times after a game when they couldn't run the ball, we couldn't run the ball the length of my body part. Okay?
Yes.
Now, come on. Is that criticizing a team? I think so.
Well, yes, and yes. I'm just processing what you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Fortunately, Arnold Palmer was never a football coach, but I digress.
And he said it on multiple occasions. Multiple occasions.
When I think of Mayo, though, and the things he's said so far this year, at times I ask myself, is he talking his way out of a job? And Jason Garrett, and I think it was in response to something Mayo said earlier, he said, now you know why we give you coach speak. Because nothing good comes from being candid. Nothing good comes from being honest and open. That's why it's cliche. That's why it's guarded. Because then we say something and it blows up. And that's why we do it the way we do it. So there is something to be said for the grumbling and the dismissiveness and the short answers and rolling the eyes and the stuff that Belichick, I'd never heard him say the thing that you said.
Yeah.
I've heard some stuff from Devin that he said in the meeting room that I don't remember hearing before a microphone. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that, there's a calculation to it. And maybe the method to the madness is Jerod Mayo, by calling them out publicly, will turn it into the kind of thing that will cause them to bow up and can you imagine if they beat the Jets and drop the Jets to 2-6 and climb to 2-6? We're focused so much on the Jets turning it around. This is basically the Super Bowl for the Patriots, isn't it?
Right. And look, you want to talk about a calculation, Mike. When you do that, when you say that to a team privately, that collectively we're soft, it's risky. But if you say it to them privately and then you go and tell the world that and it becomes a talking point, either it lands with the team or that could be the moment. That could be the line where you say, okay, that's where he lost them. He lost them altogether when he told an international audience that the team is soft. So they have to respond. If they don't respond, okay, now you've got to rethink everything, because it's clear that you haven't been able to, your messaging is gone and you cannot coach the team. And that's supposed to be a strength as a young coach. It was not necessarily, hey, he's got this great vision for a franchise. His strength is supposed to be his ability to connect with multiple people. I think Jason Garrett is right. It's a job that looks easy from afar. It looks easier even if you're an assistant coach. And Mayo was there last year when all those guys were complaining about Belichick. He's a guy in his 70s. Mayo's a guy in his 30s. So he's closer to the players, and the players are saying, hey, Bill does this, he's out of touch, Bill does that. And Mayo probably thought, hey, when I get the job, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to treat these guys as men. I'm going to be collaborative. That sounds good. But once you become the head coach and everything comes on your desk, football and otherwise, you can't be as democratic as you want it, small d. You can't be as democratic as you might think you should be.
Well, this weekend's game, really, the more I think about it and the more we talk about it, it's something that you otherwise would look at and just say, check the box for a Jets win. They get themselves on track as they get ready for a Thursday night visit from the Texans. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder whether or not, because if the Patriots are ever going to dig deep, it's going to be this weekend. And the Jets are kind of on the ropes right now. A weird kind of good game, kind of like dysfunction versus dysfunction, who can come out on top. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.